Hello and welcome to another fun-filled nonsense retrospective. I'm your host as always, Rick. Joining me equally as always is Devon.
In the grim darkness of the future of the Nonsense Review in 40,000 years' time, we are nothing but servitorized, lobotomized bastards. Well, I'm your host Devon, along with Rick.
Hello, everybody.
Man, Warhammer's grim, isn't it?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, they've cornered the market on grimdark, haven't they?
I think Warhammer 40k may be the first franchise where I heard the term grimdark.
I mean, yeah, they call it the grim darkness of the far future, but like other things that are grimdark are basically channeling 40k, and the term grimdark is because of 40k.
I'm not confident enough to say that is the actual origin. I'm not saying it's not, but like, hey, you can make whatever claim you want, but I'm sure there's other things that can lay claim to it. Like, I know for a fact Berserk came out before Warhammer was a thing. Wait, was it?
Yeah.
Was Warhammer 70s?
I think technically, yeah.
If Warhammer 40k was out in the 70s, then it predates a lot of the really grim fucking anime I'm aware of. But even before then, you've got some grim fucking things that may not have been called grimdark at the time. Like, it's one of those weird ones where they may have came up with the term, but there are things that were gritty and dark and this horrible before Warhammer, you know?
Oh, totally, yeah. There are things that were both grim and dark before Warhammer, but never. It was the nerds that came up with the term grimdark as a riff on the tagline of "In the grim darkness of the grimdark, there is only dark and grim."
Okay, in which, by the by, this is Rick making this claim. I'm not letting my name to this one.
yeah. I'm crucify me all you like, nerds. You'll have to find me first. But today, yeah, we're going to be talking about the characters of Warhammer 40k that we like the most. But before we get too far into that, let's go with a good old time-honored tradition of the nonsense asinine hypotheticals. What have you got for me today?
It's a bog standard simple one because I forgot we did hypotheticals until literally this morning when I woke up.
Yep.
You've got a choice, really. What you're not allowed to, they can't be human. What Warhammer species do you want to be your waifu? Could be Old World, can be Sigmar, can be 40k, could be anything with the GW licensing on it apart from Lord of the Rings.
I mean, most people would be foolish not to pick Eldar, because Eldar, you're really punching up with an Eldar, especially over an Old World elf, because Eldar have tech as well.
Yeah, but it also means you're in the 40k universe, Rick.
It does.
And Eldar, and bear in mind, Eldar don't want to fuck you.
No, apart from the ones that do, and the ones that do are basically practicing bestiality as far as they're concerned.
No, again, like, play more Rogue Trader and look more into the lore. A lot of Eldar are like, their relationships aren't sexual.
No.
Because Eldar don't do the sex because of the big bad thing they made.
yeah, man, do Votan even have ladies? I've never seen one.
I don't fucking know. I don't even care, to be honest. I think Votan are human enough that basically Imperium is what I mean by human. So that takes Ogryn off the board as well.
Yeah. So no Ogryn ladies.
I've seen fan art of Ogryn ladies. Don't diss them.
Yeah. There's no orc ladies because they're just fungi.
In this world, you can have an orc lady. It's just they look like all the other orcs.
Yeah, they do. I've seen some cool art of Tyrannid ladies.
You'll die, but fair enough.
Yeah, you would totally die. I'm struggling to pick a better pick than Eldar.
You can
the Dark Eldar would literally torture you to death.
Well, I was going to say you can roll the dice with a Dark Eldar. Now, here's the thing: is that Dark Eldar won't necessarily torture you to death. Oh
yes, there are worse things than death that the Dark Eldar can torture you to. But they will definitely torture you.
They won't definitely torture you, is the point I'm getting to. Because if we go by Rogue Trader standards, there's a Dark Eldar party member, and you can be their dominant or the submissive. Now, they will torture you if you're the submissive, but if you're the dominant, you get to torture them.
Yeah, fair enough.
Abelard does not like you if you become his sub. He's not angry. He's very disappointed.
I'm gonna go for a slightly more offbeat one with an Eldar Exodite, because you get to be a space Amish space cowboy who gets to ride space dinosaurs, and you get to stay on one of their planets because they don't leave without a good reason, and they're strongest on their planets, and you just get to be kept as a pet by one of them.
So basically, Rick's cheating with his answer again.
Yeah. The Exodites are canon though, so yeah, they're just space wood elves. But yeah, who are you going to pick? What faction are you going to be part of the harem of?
Oh, I'll be Shadow Sun's bitch. That's fine.
Yeah, all right.
I don't care what they look like. It's fine. I've also seen some fan artists for no reason other than the fact that that Shadow Sun is a lady draws her with massive tits.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't care. In truth, she probably just looks like an ethereal with a bit more muscle, and that's about it.
Yeah, and for some people that's good enough.
Dude, like, no faction in Warhammer 40k is good, but
no.
At least you're not likely to, like, unless you fuck up and go to a very specific point in the Tau timeline, at least you won't be accidentally summoning demons when you're hanging around with them.
Yeah, and like, as far as believing that they're literally doing the right thing goes, the Tau are actually pretty high up there on the morality scale.
No, they're fucking not.
Okay. The rank and file Tau.
No, they're not.
Oh, okay.
You can say that for rank and file Imperium Soul. Everyone on the rank and file thinks they're doing the right thing, which morally justifies most of the fucked up shit they do.
Yeah, fair enough.
For those of you wondering why I'm saying specifically on the timeline, by the way, while I was doing some research just to refresh my memory on characters from 40k, I stumbled upon a fun fact that during the fourth incursion or something on Imperial territory, they managed to reverse engineer a warp drive, but they didn't reverse engineer a Gellar field, which means as soon as they used it, they just got invaded by a fuck ton of demons. Yeah. And it's just like, oh, fuck. And they don't know what demons are, really, so they were completely unprepared.
Shit.
Yeah. Because Tau don't have psychers.
No, they don't.
Anyway.
And, they're completely unprepared to deal with it.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Like, they would probably free psychers that were left behind if Imperials flee and be like, wow, this is barbaric, why'd they do this? Oh, that's why.
Yep. Yep.
It's like, you know how the Kunari rip out the tongues of mages? It's like, the factions in Warhammer 40k will do that, or specifically the Imperium ones, but they do it and it's correct.
Yeah, like, the Tau are a few experiences of natural-born psychers within their own ranks away from making that decision as well.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, I don't think... It seems as if the Tau don't have the capability. But that's a discussion for another podcast that we will never do. Rick, what's your hypo?
My hypo is, congratulations, Nonsense Review is in the future and it's become insanely popular and our faces have become marketable. You have a pull-string doll made out of you, a la Woody. What phrases do you think your doll would say that are things that you say quite a lot?
Man, that's bollocks, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's a saying, by the way, not me disregarding your question. I say bollocks an awful lot, but that's mostly because... Alright, we swear on this podcast, but I try not to swear. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, whenever you call me a cunt, you're always laughing.
I don't think I've ever done that, have I?
Yeah, I mean, like, it's been one of those, I can't, kind of things.
I don't think I've ever done that, but okay. Or if I have done that, it's certainly not been on air.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, no.
That's the distinction. There we go.
I don't think I've ever called you a cunt. Full stop. I've definitely used the word cunt around you. Unlike some people, I don't have any umbrage of saying the word cunt. I know people don't like it, but you're an idiot. Like, words cannot hurt you.
Yeah, totally.
I'd want it not to be my phrases. I want them to pay me to say movie catchphrases that we've never done on the podcast.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Things like oh yeah, we're lending our likeness to a thing that we're not actually reviewing, like Raid Shadow Legends or something like that.
Well, not that one, because fuck those people. But we had we've done this like several times now, and since Rick sort of backpedaled. But I remember really early on in the day, I went on a tirade against Raid Shadow Legends, and when I finished, Rick, you may remember you say we should probably cut that in case they want to sponsor us. And I went, I don't really want them to sponsor us. And you went, can we cut it? And I went, okay, I will cut it.
Yeah.
And
we ended up cutting it.
And you've since backpedaled and been like, oh yeah, fuck Raid Shadow Legends. We don't want them to sponsor us anyway.
Yeah, like, it depends. We're not big enough for them to have noticed us. We'll find out exactly how much our convictions are worth when a couple of quid is on the table.
It'd have to be more than a couple of quid, because I really don't like them.
Yeah.
My morals are for sale, but the price tag varies.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, depending on who you are.
Man, the Nonsense Review sure did sell out. Yeah, you're sure fucking right we did.
Yeah, we did.
They paid us £10,000 for free adverts. Yes, I'm going to do that. I don't have to go to work for a year.
How do you sleep at night? On top of a pile of money with many beautiful women.
That's the Simpsons joke, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I think it's is it Rinium Wolfcastle that says it?
No, it doesn't sound like a Rinian line. Anyway, that's what I'd do is I'd sell the right to the catchphrases to the highest bidder. It's like drink slum cola.
Yeah, sure, fair enough.
I can't start my day without Swedish bacon. Sweden, Denmark. Which one's the one that does bacon?
Yeah, Danish bacon is the one that was popular enough that they actually had adverts just for Danish bacon, not even a brand, just Danish bacon.
It's like in the States, the Canadian bacon's a big deal, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's just reconstituted ham. Like, I don't think Canadians actually make it. It's just they call it Canadian bacon as a marketing tactic.
How the fuck is it bacon then, Rick?
Because like bacon is just pork, but somewhere on the pork scale.
No, it's not. Bacon is specific cuts. Like,
yeah.
You can't have back bacon if it's not from the back of a pig.
Yeah, so it's the back bacon that is both the pork chop and the little bit of belly that we get. So you can't have pork chops and back bacon from the same pig. But I think they're just saying that they use the same curing tactic on it. I think curing is what actually makes something into bacon.
I don't think that's correct, Rick, but whatever.
Yep.
What about you? What's your iconic catchphrases? I think should go on there.
Well, I guess my starting of hey, hi, hello, and I guess also when I just start chuckling and go stupid when something really actually tickles me because it's ridiculous, and then the good old barring dire mishap that I stole from Shakespeare.
I don't think you can say you stole that from Shakespeare when it's been used to death by everything else.
Yeah, fair enough.
No, I got this from Shakespeare. I read all of his works before school even told me to because I'm so smart.
Yeah, literally. I got that one phrase in the one that I had to read at school, and I was like, oh, okay, this is pretentious. However, I kind of like it.
Yeah, but it's Shakespeare. It was probably meant to be.
Yeah, it's entertainment for the haves, and not the have-nots.
You say that, but like fucking Shakespeare's plays were not fucking in his time. They were not sophisticated. Like,
no.
I believe one of the main reasons why they're so venerated still to this day is because now it's actually history that you can look at and go, this is what entertained people back in 1992.
Yeah. Like this is our earliest version of this trope. So have a look at that and stuff like that. Yeah. But yeah, that's our hypotheticals out of the way. So today we're doing a top 5 of Warhammer 40k characters, and you told me before we started that you don't have any honourable mentions.
Yeah, so Rick gets to stroke his dick for a couple of minutes now. That being said, we did just say Warhammer characters, because 2 of mine are from the old world.
Okay, that changes what I pick then, because there's one that I really want to pull on from the old world and would have ended up in honourable mentions.
Like, the only caveat I put on this when we made it is the character in question has to have had a model at some point.
Yeah.
So go on, give us your honourable mentions.
So my honourable mentions are Sindri from Dawn of War. All the models of him are just conversions.
I don't know who Sindri is, Rick.
Sindri Mir is the Chaos Sorcerer from the first Dawn of War. He epitomizes the Alpha Legion a lot better than Lord Bale, who is his Chaos Lord, the Lord feels more like a Khorne Berserker Lord, whereas Sindri really does feel like an Alpha Legion guy.
I didn't even... was it the Alpha Legion in that game?
It was, yeah. Like, if it wasn't for the fact that he was Alpha Legion, he would also make a very good case of being a Zinchi guy, because he's very conniving and very backstabby, but also very manipulative.
Well, that's just it. Like, I'm going based off memories on a video game that came out 20 odd fucking years ago, but I always thought it was the Thousand Suns in that game.
Yeah. I mean, that's a reasonable thing to think. The thing that makes him very definitely not a Zinchi guy is that when he becomes a demon, he becomes an undivided demon and not a Lord of Change.
Yeah, but that's also a problem with the game, because the game only had the Greater Demon of Khorne in the game.
Yeah, so normal people could be a Greater Demon of Khorne, and he could be a Demon Prince.
Well, Demon Prince also existed in the game.
Yeah,
but so
he was the demon.
But the Demon Prince didn't change iconography or colours based on your faction. It was always a Khorne-coloured one.
Okay, fair enough. But yeah, he's basically he's Alpha Legion incarnate.
Sure.
And my other one is Yvraine, because I feel like I would really like her, but the Inari are completely after my time.
Well, the Inari are just like, hey, by the way, Dark Eldar and Eldar buried their beef.
Yeah.
Also,
apart
the
from like
a
couple of Harlequins as well, and technically the Exodites as well, but I don't think there's any models for those. You got to convert them yourself.
They don't exist, Rick. Stop it.
And yeah, like everyone's buried their beef apart from like 7 or 8 named characters. So you can't use them on a Yurnari list. You have to use a complete Dark Eldar list if you want to use Adzrael Vect or whatever his name is.
Who cares, man? Like, here's the thing: is I don't like combining Dark Eldar units and Eldar units. I don't think they work together. Their rules kind of clash.
Sure, fair enough.
That being said, though, I always did like the Dark Eldar Reaver theme.
Yeah. Like, there's a lot of things in Dark Eldar that I really like, but like, but we'll get to that.
The constant sexual violence isn't a great look.
It's not, so they have to basically tone it down to be more acceptable.
Well, yeah, and I think that's the reason why they have this peace thing going on with the Eldar, because, Warhammer has this weird thing where it's always kind of been skewed towards a younger audience, but there was a time period where they really held nothing back with how fucked the universe was. Yeah,
and they got really horny, like... There was a time when the demonettes were like really horny and not just like half and half, like literal split down the middle hermaphrodites.
They were never overly horny. I think people have like Nelson Mandela affected themselves into that. Like the only difference is they used to have nipples showing. That's it. That's all it was.
Yeah, and some of the alts had 6 tits, which is great.
I don't think that was ever included in the kits. I think that was just people sculpting them, because you cannot deny how fucking horny and weird geeks are.
Yeah. There was definitely a Forge World Keeper of Secrets that had 6 tits. That was great.
Yeah, sure, but that cost like £500, so it doesn't count.
It's like 90, which is probably about
no fucking way. It was £90 because that's how much a regular one is.
That's how much a regular one is now. This is back in like 2006.
I still don't think it was that cheap. It would have been triple digits, my dude.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because back then they were really flogging the fact that, hey, resin is super more expensive than plastic, so we get to charge a fuck zillion dollars. And then they made their entire range fucking resin for a while, and everyone hated it.
Yeah. I remember back in those days, like there was a line of dreadnoughts, Chaos Dreadnoughts, that were only like 5 or more than the regular ones, and they looked so much better. It's basically a gateway drug into Forge World,
if you say so.
But yes, who's going to be your number 5?
My number 5 is the Primarch of the Salamanders, Vulcan.
Yeah, he's a cool guy, isn't he?
He is so cool, and his gene seed lives on in his Marines. The Salamanders are I wouldn't say by far. I think the Space Wolves are pretty good guys in general, if it wasn't for their curse. But the Salamanders are, every single story, they have retained enough of their humanity that they want to help.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, if a Space Marine is defending you, then it's either a Space Wolf or a Salamander.
Or a Lamenter, but they get a real raw deal, and also they don't have any official shit.
Yeah.
If you want a good time, spend an afternoon just looking up Lamenters, because they're just the ultimate bros, but they're cursed with the worst luck ever, and I'm not making that up. That's literally what the deal is.
Yeah. I looked up a little bit of the lore as well, and there's some Space Marines with like minor mutations that super fuck them over.
Yeah. The Blood Angels get super fucked.
Yeah, they do.
But anyway, let's not dive too much into that. I think the only time you see Lamenters regularly is as part of Death Watch units. That's how bad the fucking chapter's been fucked.
Yep. Death Watch, who famously can accept a Marine from any chapter, and they just come together with whatever like extra cool things that they can do.
Absolutely. It used to be I used to prefer it when they locked it to, you could have a unit of Death Watch. Now you can have an whole army of Death Watch, and I'm like, that's a bit lamer, but I get it. People wanted a whole army of it. Let people have fun. But the concept of just having a random unit of Death Watch show up on the cusp of an epic battle, that's a cool story beat.
Yeah. They're also really cool in Kill Team, where, like, that's where having your entire force be Death Watch makes sense, because you've got your crack team of like 6 guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like one of them's the Ultramarine, and he's the leader because he's basically the Red Ranger that's colored blue, and one of them's a Blood Angel who's on the cusp of the Black Rage, and he's your assault guy, and one of them's a Dark Angel sniper, and one of them's a Space Wolf who bros out with the Blood Angel and gets into combat with him.
Yeah, Gimli and Legolas, gotcha.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think one of the defining moments of Vulcan... by the way, Vulcan doesn't have a 40k miniature, but he does have a 30k one.
Okay, good enough.
All the Primarchs have a Horus Heresy model, and they're expensive as fuck.
Yeah, they are.
But yeah, Vulcan's cool as fuck. He's got a big fuck off hammer. One of my favourite story beats ever, and I'm going to butcher it because I'm doing it off memory, is he's captured by someone, and they're like, okay, so I've got you in this room, and I've put all these dampeners on here so your fucking weapon can't do its magic space bullshit. And Vulcan just laughs, and the guy who's got him captured is just like, what the fuck, man? And Vulcan goes, you forget one thing, it is still a hammer.
Yeah.
and he just fucking smashes his way out of his little prison cell. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah. It's very similar to like the whole thing about, oh, I love being a troll mage. People forget that I'm a troll.
Fair enough.
People forget how buff my arms are, and then just like summoning a wall of ice and punching it so the ice becomes projectiles to get through an anti-magic field.
And me as the DM goes, no. But yeah, I love Vulcan. He's great. He's in a weird place as far as 40k story goes, because as with most Primarchs, he's in that space where he's reported as missing and or dead, but in reality, Games Workshop is waiting until they got an excuse to release a new model for him.
Yeah, because they've done it with Gulliman. They've done it with the Lion already.
Yeah, they've done it with they're doing it with the Demon Primarch. They're basically doing 1-1-1-1-1-1. Apart from Abaddon, where they just like, fuck, this model's like 30 years old, we need to change it.
Yeah, we need to find a way to charge like 65 quid instead of 8.
Well, that's just bear in mind, like the Abaddon miniature is the whole reason why they called him the Armless, because his arms always used to fucking fall off.
Yeah, no matter how well you glued them, like they would fall off in transit.
Yeah, because it was not a well-designed miniature. Like,
yeah,
it was a cool look, but the pose was just designed to fuck up.
Yeah. Like it was based around the points of failure.
I don't think they did it on purpose, because it was a really early days model, and I believe it was metal as well, which makes it even more impressive that the arms fell off.
Oh, it was definitely metal.
Yeah. Anyway, I digress. Vulcan, cool guy. If you want to look at a genuinely good Space Marine and a genuinely good Space Marine chapter, Salamanders is the way to go, and Vulcan is their boss. Rick, who's your number 5?
My number 5 is a character that you might not expect a faction of this type to have characters, the Red Terror.
I mean, I play Tyranids, Rick.
Yeah. There was a time when G-Dubs decided, Tyranids should not have any special characters because they are a hive mind. But that's what makes the Red Terror even more special. And what makes it the most special is that when it was first released, it could only be wielded against armies of a certain size or less. So it was really like a special character predator for smaller combats, which made it even more like impactful and memorable.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, the Red Terror is just a slightly beefed up Ravager. So even if you play those bigger games, it's like, hey, how come one of your Ravagers is red? And it's like, don't forget about it. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the longest time, Tyranids had very few special characters. Obviously, we had HQ units. I think I'd argue that the Swarm Lord is a much more iconic character than the Red Terror.
Yeah, maybe so. Like, is that actually a person or is it just a title?
It's the Swarm Lord is a specific hive tyrant that was basically specifically created to combat Marnius Calgar.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why he's got 4 swords, because he was specific. After countless engagements, they were like, okay, we need to fucking deal with this shit. He has, when the Swarm Lord is present, he has a much more tactical view of the battlefield, and specifically to combat the Ultramarines bullshit.
Yeah, sweet. Okay.
So yeah, like one of his special rules back in one of the older editions, because I've not played Warhammer for like 2 editions. To represent his tactical acumen, once you deployed and the opponent had finished deploying, you can redeploy 2 units.
Yeah.
To counter the battle line of the opponent. So the Swarm Lord is a special character because in the storyline there's only one, but obviously in the game anyone can fucking field it, because
Yeah, good stuff. But the Red Terror is my number 5. Who's going to be your number 4?
My number 4 is the ever iconic Joseph Bugman.
Yeah, from Fantasy.
Yeah, so Joseph Bugman was a very big deal in the game when I got into Warhammer. So much so that when I was reading the White Dwarfs, all of the scenarios that they were releasing for people to play were related to Joseph Bugman and his ale empire, for lack of a better word.
Yeah. I mean, he's a cool guy, and his beer is so good that dwarves will spend their entire lives questing for that beer.
I mean, for real. So again, I remember the very first scenario was before his ale. Yeah, by the way, in universe for the old world, Bugman's brewery got completely fucked over and destroyed, and Bugman is on a perpetual quest to, one, find his kin that got kidnapped, and two, find his booze.
Yeah.
So yeah, the very first scenario was literally just him and a handful of dwarfs transporting a wagon full of ale, and it came with a tutorial on how to kit bash a ale cart.
All right, okay, cool.
So yeah, I don't actually know where. I think Bugman doesn't actually exist in Sigmar.
In Sigmar, maybe not. But these, I also don't know which came first, whether Bugman's the IRL brewery or Bugman the character came first.
Almost certainly the character. Bugman's been a thing since second ed.
Yeah, because the IRL brewery is right next to where the Games Workshop HQ is.
Yeah, but I don't think they started and went, oh, let's make a beer before, oh yes, let's make miniatures. In fact, I can guarantee you that's not how it went.
Well, I think the thing is that they didn't own the brewery, they just liked it, so they just worked it into their own little lore and then bought into it.
But that still means the character would have come first, Rick.
Well, unless the brewery was there, and that's why they made the character, because they liked the beer, as in the designers liked the beer.
Yeah, they might have liked the beer, but the Bugman's beer wasn't called Bugman's before the character exists, is my point. It might have been a beer that existed. I understand what you're saying. It might have been an ale that existed before the character existed, and then when the character existed, they made a deal and they rebranded the ale. That might have been what happened, but that still means the character existed before the beer did.
Yeah, fair enough. But yes, who's going to be your number 4?
Joseph Bugman, we're still on it.
Oh, yeah, that is your number 4. My bad.
This is why Rick should not host things.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Bugman's cool. It's really funny because I looked up his entry in the fandom, and it's like he's got this rune axe. No one knows what it's called. He just calls it "Oh Reliable." Also, it's rumored he has armor and has a crossbow because that was his war gear when he was last a character in the game.
Yeah, when most people just had regular war gear from the regular list.
Yeah. For a long time, the Bugman's Rangers was a special unit you could recruit for your army, as long as you were good aligned, but usually dwarfs back in the day. When they introduced the Dog of War mechanic, where you could have just militia warbands join, the Bugman's Rangers was a great unit to have because you could just have a melee focused army, but you just got Bugman's Rangers that are just a crossbow unit, but better.
Yeah.
Crossbows were awesome in the old world.
Yeah. The only thing that could compare to it was magic, and that came with a whole slew of problems.
Oh boy, did it! But at the same time, if you were playing goblins, you have 5 goblin mages, and then fucking have fun, dude.
Yeah.
But yes, Rick, who's your number 4?
My number 4 is going to be Mephiston, Lord of Death.
This is a Blood Angel.
He is, otherwise known as Calistarius from the Space Hulk board game, which is where he was first introduced.
I mean, fair enough.
He's the first and potentially the only, but he was definitely the first Blood Angel to survive the Black Rage, come out the other side, and come out as basically a vampire lord.
That explains so much, because I've seen this guy's model loads of times, and I'm just like, that's just a space vampire. I never really knew why.
Yeah, he's got a big fucking collar, he's got a big fucking sword. He used to have an interesting plasma pistol. I think he used to have a melter pistol. Oh no, that was Dante. Yeah, he's got a plasma pistol. But yeah, he's got stats more akin to a demon prince or a monster in general than a space marine, and just is really cool. And apparently, really later on in the lore, he ends up willingly becoming the host for the Dark Angel.
I don't know.
Whereas,
what the fuck is this? What's this anime bullshit in my Space Marines?
Yeah, so the anime bullshit in the Space Marines is that in the warp there's an Angel of Light and an Angel of Darkness, and when Blood Angels serve the weak and save people, the Angel of Light gets better, and I think it's the Sanguinior. I think they can summon it as like a Blood Angel's greater demon, but it's like an angel.
Rick, I appreciate you're just regurgitating the lore at me, But no, there fucking isn't.
And when people succumb to the Black Rage, the Dark Angel gets better, and they're just always fighting in the warp. I think the idea was if he becomes the host for it, then he imprisons it, and it saves the Blood Angels from the Black Rage as long as he is alive.
Do you ever get the feeling that, like, in factions in universe just make up their own bullshit sometimes?
Oh, totally. Like, the Dark Angels do it all the time.
I mean, I love it, but it's just like, fucking... I would love to be, like, told this important history lesson by a fucking Blood Angels librarian, and as they finish talking, I'll be like, you made that up!
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's silly, but it's kind of cool. But there's better things on my list, so that's why he's my number 4. Who's your number 3?
Number 3 is the actual candidate for the champion of Chaos Undivided in Warhammer 40k. And boy, is everybody just waiting for Games Workshop to pull the fucking trigger already.
Oh, yeah.
It is, of course, Huron Blackheart, the Tyrant of Badab.
Yeah, he's such a cool guy.
I mean, no, he's a piece of shit, but I get what you mean.
Yeah. Okay, he's such a cool concept, not a good person.
Oh god, no. Now, here's the reason why he deserves to actually be the symbol of Undivided as opposed to Abaddon, is because Abaddon believes that he's able to control the powers of chaos, whereas Huron straight up says, oh no, I'm fucked, but I'm gonna use these powers because I have them.
Yeah, I mean, Abaddon's got the thing of the reason he's not ascended to demonhood, despite having earned it many times over, is that he basically wants to be a Chaos Emperor. I mean, so once he's conquered the universe, he wants to rule over it as a human rather than as a demon.
I've got to be.
He doesn't want to give himself over to the powers any more than he has to.
I've got to be absolutely honest with you. Like, Abaddon's motivations have changed about 20 times since I've been alive.
Oh yeah,
so,
totally.
Like,
they're trying to bull him up now as being like really charismatic and the only one that can control more than one warband at once.
No, he fucking isn't.
No, he's not.
The amount of times he's had to just straight up kill fucking legions because they wouldn't listen to him.
Yeah. Like, we know that, but yeah, the current thing is, he's charismatic and he can pull them together.
They're trying to change him into Archaon, aren't they?
Yeah. Like, literally.
But Archaon's big deal is like, Archaon's not on your list, is he?
No.
Okay, cool. That means we can talk about him here. Archaon's big deal is like he keeps getting courted by all 4 Chaos Gods, and he keeps telling all of them to fuck off. That's why he's got the big giant behemoth creature with the 4 heads of chaos, because they all kind of gifted it to him at once. It's just like, please suck our dick, Archaon. And Archaon's like, nah.
Yeah. And I think they both now have the mark of Chaos Ascendant instead of Chaos Undivided.
That's annoying.
Yeah.
Because Archaon is specifically undivided.
Yeah. Rather than being divided precisely 4 ways.
Like, because he tells all of them to fuck off.
Yeah, he does. He does, yeah. And then for some reason, Zinj makes him a level 2 sorcerer.
They're trying really hard to get him on their side.
Yeah.
The best way to get chaos powers and not have to pay for them is to be a super badass and keep telling them to fuck off.
Yeah, because then they become like, the gods become super tsundere for you.
Like, oh, fucking, he's causing so much chaos, though. I know he doesn't like us, but, like, come on. Senpai, please. Please read my letter. Please.
If we can't bless you, can we at least curse your enemies? No, fuck off. Oh.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, but Huron's just so fucking cool. As you said, a complete piece of shit. Like, unremorseful villain. Abaddon has a goal, and Huron's goal is to just... He's basically a pirate king.
Yeah, the Red Corsairs, yeah.
Yeah, and he's in this really annoying state where he is constantly in pain because he refuses any more demonic gifts.
So he has to, like, replace parts of his body with, like, mech stuff.
He doesn't have to replace parts of his body. The things that have already been replaced it's like the Darth Vader thing where, like, we did this wrong specifically to keep you pissed.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's not much to say about Huron except he should be a bigger antagonist than he is.
Yeah, like, I feel like they're not making as much of a deal of him because they want to, like, market the gods, but, he should be a bigger deal than they're making him. Because wasn't he, like, the guy of one of the box sets?
No.
Okay.
No. You always had to...
Oh, it was the other... it was the other red-coloured Undivided Chaos Legion, wasn't it?
Or the Word Bearers.
Nah, it was just like a really shit one.
There's no way one of the main fucking factions of Chaos was not marked. They wouldn't use some fucking no-brand. Do you know what I mean? On one of their big boxes.
So one of the edition box sets. It might have been an edition box set, or it might have just been a...
it wouldn't have been an edition
Learn how
box
to paint set.
Learn how to paint, fine, whatever. No one cares about those. But an actual edition box set, no, it's going to be a faction they're pushing.
Sure.
You still haven't said what they were.
Oh, they're renegade marines, so they're not a Primarch Legion. They're just like a renegade marine chapter that and these were ones who basically had the pariah gene, so everyone fucking hated looking at them, and they got so sick of other space marines just like withdrawing support the moment they learned that these guys were going to be helping, that they just turned to chaos.
Yeah, there's no way they pushed that.
Yeah, fair enough.
Alright, okay, cool. Number 3, Rick.
Number 3? What's your number 3?
No, I just did mine. I asked you what your number 3 is.
Oh, I'm fucking stupid.
Yes, you are. What is wrong with you today? We only started an hour earlier. You shouldn't be this bad.
Yep. My number 3 is Lilith Hesperax.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
Yep. She's basically Space Marathi, except cooler, because she's not like...
I don't think you can even remotely compare her to Marathi, apart from the fact they're both elves.
Yeah, they're both elves. They're both the oldest female elf in their faction. They're both really, like, kind of badass in their own way, but Marathi is more of a conniver, whereas Hesperax is... She's weirdly pure in that she's the only witch elf... witch with a Y, because that's different to the witches with an IT, that doesn't use combat drugs because she wants to keep her kills pure.
I still think it's bad that you're bringing up Marathi, because she's literally a god, whereas Lilith is just a really excellent gladiator.
Well, Marathi's a god now, but when I was playing, she was just a person who was just like really good at sorcery.
Okay, but again, you're comparing fucking hamburgers to oranges.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, she's not only does she have a reputation as a really good gladiator, she's also hot as fuck. And even now, apparently, Dark Eldar circulate videos of her doing kills on the Dark Eldar internet.
That fucking blows my mind. They have the internet.
Yeah, they're Dark Eldar internet.
They could just fucking
the World Wide Web way.
They could just walk down the street and go to their snuff fucking arena.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be a video of Lilith Hesperax doing it.
I guess. Yeah, Lilith is pretty cool. There's like 3 different stories of Archons really wanting to fuck her, and every single time it ends the same way, and it's like, hey, yeah, I'm down for that if you can fucking beat me, and all of them try, and none of them win.
Apart from Azrael Vecht, who is the only one to, like, come to a standstill with her on equal terms.
Yeah, but he didn't fuck her, did he?
Yeah.
Did he? Okay.
Yeah, he's a massive pornomancer. He's like fucked as many dark elves as there are, pretty much.
I'm just surprised Lilith would say yes if he didn't fucking actually curb stomp her.
Yeah. Well, he's top of the pile of corpses for a reason. He's not actually a pushover.
If you say so, my knowledge of Dark Eldar lore pretty much comes exclusively from Rogue Trader and the fact that their raider ships are cool.
Yep.
They're not a faction I interact with much.
Yeah. I mean, she had a good model all the way back in like 3rd Ed as well, and I remember I learned that it was possible to have a 2+ invulnerable save from her, and it turns out that was just a normal piece of war gear that they just so happened to give her, that any like Dark Eldar guy could have taken, and as soon as it fails, it stops working for the entire battle.
Oh, that's fair then.
Yeah. Because other than that, yeah, it's really difficult. Yeah, I think it also works only against shooting.
Well, that makes
sense.
Of
a big deal.
Yeah, for a melee focused unit, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I would love to see a fight between her and Khan.
Yeah.
I think. Don't get me wrong.
I think both of them would as well.
Don't get me wrong. I think Khan would curb stomp her, given the fact that he's got the power armor on, and his weapon, his Gorechild, is actually bullshit. But there's a fun little bit of lore that whenever Dark Eldar and World Eaters, yeah, I think so. Fight. Basically, Khorne Berserkers are like, we're fighting Dark Eldar. Fuck, where them witches at?
Yep.
And witches are like, we're fighting Chaos. Fuck, do they have Berserkers? Oh yeah, and they just immediately charge at each other, not giving a fuck about anything else. It's so dumb. I love it.
Yeah, good shit. But yeah, that's my number 3. Who's your number 2?
My number 2 is the iconic White Dwarf himself, Grombendal.
Yeah! I've not known about this guy, so enlighten me on his lore.
No. He's the iconic White Dwarf. He's on the White Dwarf pages. He gets given pretty much a model every couple of years. Usually around Christmas time, they release a new special one. Back in the old world, he would basically appear when the dwarves needed him most and just be like, cool, I'm here to sort shit out. I think it was 5th edition during like the 20th anniversary or something, where they released a special miniature of the White Dwarf on top of a shield being held by Joseph Bugman and is his name Gotrek?
Yeah, Gotrek from Gotrek and Felix.
Yeah, it's a very cool little model. However, it's using their old dwarven look, so it looks very clunky.
Yes.
But yeah, where Gotrek is a legendary slayer who just will not die, and Joseph Bugman provides ale for all the dwarfs, Grombendel is a symbol of hope.
Yeah, it's kind of cute.
Yeah, but fuck that though, let's talk about fucking their version of Blitzball.
Oh yeah, Blood Bowl.
Yeah, so I couldn't remember the name, I just had Blitzball in my head and I knew it was wrong.
It's okay, it's an easy enough one to fill in the blanks for.
So in Blood Bowl, Grombendel has a special miniature and he can be fielded by a dwarf team. However, if you field the white dwarf, the opposing team automatically has to field the black gobbo.
Okay, so you bring the black gobbo along with your team just to give to your opponent.
Yes, in fact you have to, if you buy the white dwarf as a Blood Bowl player, it comes with the black gobbo.
Sweet.
The black gobbo, as the name might suggest, is the complete opposite of the white dwarf.
Yeah, like a symbol of despair and cheating.
He's not that big of a deal, he just shows up to annoy Grombendel. Like, he is such a non-issue. In the Blood Bowl game, he's actually pretty good, but in very different ways to Grombendel. He's very fast and doesn't have a lot of hit points, but speed can be king in that game, depending on your strategy.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, I've not got much else to say, really, but you got to use the white dwarf, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, if you're a dwarf gang and you got the choice, why wouldn't you?
Pretty much. And I know for a fact the white dwarf exists in Sigmar, although I don't know into what capacity.
Yeah.
Rick, who's your number two?
I'm also unclear on the specifics. My number two is Fate Weaver. Kairos Fate Weaver. I believe he's also I think he's in both, because I think he's that big of a deal. He is the two-headed Lord of Change.
Yeah, he's the named Lord of Change, because Games Workshop went through this weird phase where they released, because back in the old day when they released the Greater Demon kits, they were pretty much fixed, static. There was no multiple options unless you hit bashed or converted. And then they released a second load, which were the named Greater Demons of Chaos. So I know Nurgle got one. I think that was like the Rainfather or something. But yeah, Fate Reaver might be the most unique amongst those old designs, because again, he got given two fucking heads.
Yeah. I think his original incarnation in fantasy was like a dragon that ate the head of a Lord of Change. It became a two-headed dragon with a Lord of Change head, and then the Lord of Change heads just overtook it and became a two-headed Lord of Change instead.
I mean, I'm not going to argue with you, but that's dumb.
Yeah, it's dumb. But like, he's the reason that not Angron, Lorgar turned to Chaos, because the only time he spoke two truths, because his gimmick is usually that he speaks one truth from one head and one lie from the other head, both of which being equally plausible, was that both of the truths meant the same thing, which was that Lorgar should turn to Chaos. And that's how big of a deal that they thought turning all of the traitor legions to Chaos was. And and he's just such a cool character to have kicking around. He's been killed multiple times, but you know how that goes for demons. They just go back to the warp.
Yeah, unless they get taken out by a Grey Knight in a novel. That's the case. They'll come back later.
Yeah, like even Lionel Johnson like cut one of his heads off, sent that head back to the warp, and says, "Did you see that coming, bitch?" And and he still comes back from that. So yeah, he's I love my Tzeentch. I love my conniving bastards. It's real difficult for me to choose between Tzeentch and Alpha Legion in terms of like my chaos proclivities.
The only reason why I don't like the Alpha Legion is because they're a bit too fucky-wucky with the status of their Primarch.
Oh yeah, Alfarius, Omegon. It's one of those where they've not released an Alfarius model, I don't think, because like the whole point is that he's meant to just be one of any.
Well, also one of the problems is that Alfarius has been killed off canonically, and only Omegon exists. Except the fan base insists that Alfarius still exists.
Yeah. Like one of them is canonically being killed off. They might have done the twin switch at the last moment. Like in the Alfarius novel, his opening words are, "I am Alfarius. This statement is a lie."
Oh, there you go. I've not read the novels. I've got my Tzeentch book that focuses on I've forgotten the fucker's name, Ahriman.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I've only read like 5 pages because I got bored really quickly.
Man, Ahriman's such a fuck.
Oh yeah, but it's one of those weird ones where like he thought he was doing the right thing, and I know it's like the road to hell is paved with good intentions, but it's got to count for something, right?
Yeah.
And like while Magnus hasn't forgiven him by any stretch, they are at least aware that they need to kind of work together for the time being. But
yeah,
Magnus fucking hates his kids.
Yeah. Like, I think Magnus the Red is actually the best good guy out of all the Chaos Legion Primarchs.
Well, he got...
Or at least before things went wrong.
Well, yeah, he's a demon Primarch, like, he's crossed a line which can't be uncrossed, but, like, during, like, the Horus Heresy and pre-Fall, like, he was just dealt the duffest of hands.
Yeah, and it's like a mark against the Space Wolves, in my opinion, that they couldn't put that aside for, like, 5 minutes and do the right thing.
Well, Russ is a good guy,
only thing I don't like
but he's a dick.
Yeah, it's the only thing I don't like about Space Wolves is that they were naughty to the Thousand Sons.
But again, with their limited knowledge of how Psychers worked, I don't blame them.
Yeah.
But yeah, shit was fucked. And it does give us one of the better dioramas at Warhammer World.
Yeah. But yeah, who's going to be your number one for today?
Oh, there's only one choice for the number one spot. It's a goddamn hero legend of the Imperium, and it's put some fucking respect on his name. Commissar goddamn Sebastian Yarrick.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He's the only person to be empowered by the War that's not an orc.
Yeah, so the reasoning for this is the fucking best. Orc technology only works because orcs believe it works. When Yarrick lost one of his arms, he just fucking bolted on a power claw, which by all accounts shouldn't work. But the orcs are so in awe of Yarrick and so much believe that he can kick their asses that it works.
Yeah. He's like the polar opposite to Ghazghkull Thraka as well, isn't he? Because Ghazghkull, like, has the biggest power claw, but Yarrick is also the human who has survived orcs.
I mean, Ghazghkull actually loves Yarrick. He loves him.
Sweet.
The only reason why Yarrick's planet didn't fall is because he led the defense of their main city until reinforcements could arrive. The amount of times Yarrick has actually been captured by orcs and then let go because Ghazghkull's like, this Humie's the only Humie that can make the Humies fight well, and if he dies, we can't fight no more.
Man, that's actually really adorable.
Yeah, like, Ghazghkull is so fucking weird in this scenario, but at the same time, it's so fucking cool. Ghazghkull is currently depressed because Yarrick is quote-unquote dead, but he's Warhammer 40k dead, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, so all you have to do is play a game in a different point in time and he's alive again, whether it be in the past before he died or in the future when he comes back in comic book time.
Well, that's just it. It's like he's reported dead and or MIA, so it's like no one actually knows if he's dead or MIA. They're just saying he is. But yeah, he got brought out of retirement as well because his planet got sieged by orcs again. And it's like, how come this planet keeps getting sieged by orcs? And it's because Ghazghkull loves fucking fighting Yarrick.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so silly.
He's great. He's great.
I fucking love orcs.
Yeah, his model has gotten so much better over the years as well. Because back in the day, it was just a normal commissar with like a little crab claw.
I don't think he hasn't had like an update to the level of any of the characters that have had updates in the last 10 years.
Okay.
Like he really should have like a Ghazghkull level model at this point. Like not necessarily in size, but in detail.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah.
Yeah, I'm all on board with that. Yeah.
Yeah. But they need to have him make basically they need to make the orcs the main fucking bad guy again for an edition or a release, so they have an excuse to bring Yarrick back.
Yeah, because they had the Armageddon storyline in 3rd edition, where it was just orcs versus Guard, and also the Black Templars are here. It's also the Black Templar book. Have fun.
Yes, but Armageddon is also the war in which Yarrick stood out.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's one of those. Like, Ghazghkull would rather fight Yarrick a million times than Tyranids. That's how much he loves fighting fucking Yarrick.
Yeah. Also, don't the orcs just, like, not get any joy out of the Tyranids because they don't react the way that normal things do, so it doesn't feel like a real war fight?
Oh no, they love fighting Tyranids.
Okay, cool.
Because they just keep coming back. It's like fighting other orcs, only different.
Yeah.
One of the strategies someone used in order to stop the Tyranids from encroaching on Imperium worlds so quickly is he literally took a fleet and led a bunch of orcs to a planet on the an Imperium planet in the path of the Tyranid hive, and
got the Imperial planet infested with orc spores.
Yeah, well, not even, like, literally just had, you know how orcs travel, they just fucking shoot asteroids through the fucking void.
Yeah.
So yeah, he basically sacrificed a planet and got a massive bollocking from command, but it stopped the hive from encroaching, so it's like...
Yeah, it's like the Batarians all over again. Sacrifice an entire planet.
Yeah, but the Batarians are actually dickheads.
Yeah.
But there's a great fucking meme comic of Angron, a close-up of his face, just being like, are you really going to die because of some human? And then it cuts to Grazgold and he's just like, someone is. Because I have no doubt that if Grazgold finds out who killed Yarrick, he would go on a warpath against them.
Yep. I love how this has become like a dual pack of Yarrick and Gazgol.
Pretty much, man, because you can't talk about one without talking about the... Well, I think you could talk about Grazgold without talking about Yarrick, but Yarrick is just a human commissar.
Yeah, whereas Gazgol has essentially ascended to the title of Beast.
I was going to say, like, boss of war bosses.
Yeah, the Beasts were the original war bosses that were the progenitors of the current Orc clans, with Ks, and they were essentially Orc Primarchs, and Gazgol is the only one who has risen to that rank after Orcs became what they are now, because Orcs used to be, like, way more smart than they are. Like, Brain Boys are, like, a remnant of the original Orcs who, like, designed all other Orcs to be the way they are and perform the way that they do.
Fair enough. I was vaguely
before dying out.
I was vaguely aware of a novel where essentially Grazgold is an anomaly because he thinks. And yeah, but we're not going to get in depth into Orc lore because one, I don't know much about it, and two, I kind of hate that they've made something comparable to Primarchs but for Orcs. That's meant to be a human thing.
Yeah.
Like, give them something unique. Anyway, Rick, who's your number one?
My number one is going to be my only old world inclusion. It is Thanquol, the Grey Seer. And it's not because he's good. It's because he's fucking terrible and it's amusing. He's incompetence incarnate. His only victories come at the expense of Gotrek and Felix, killing something that was a bigger threat to Skaven than his incompetence is. And every time he loses, he manages to blame it on someone else. He's like Team Rocket of Skaven. It's fantastic.
Oh, right. I didn't recognise the name, but when you mentioned Gotrek and Felix, I'm like, oh, I know this guy because he's always like, God damn it, Gotrek and Felix always ruining my plans, and Gotrek and Felix don't even know who he is.
Yeah. They've thwarted his plans as much as they've helped him, but yes.
When did this guy have a model?
He comes along with Bone Ripper, who is his unique rat ogre, except it's not that unique because he's gone through like 7 or 8 of them.
Okay.
But yeah, Thanquol and Bone Ripper is the duo model that he comes on.
Yeah, fair enough, man. I've got not much to say really, apart from what I've already said, where this character is so immemorable. The only reason I know him is because of the protagonist to his antagonist, and he's not even that antagonistic.
Yeah, he's Team Rocket. It's fantastic. I love the guy.
I think.
Oh man, like, some Skaven are so cool, and he is so not, and yet he's the only one that I would consider having as a leader.
But here's the thing, is like, he's not incompetent, except he is. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, he's perfectly competent as far as Skaven go.
Yeah. He's the perfect paragon of Skavenness, and if something goes wrong, it was someone else's fault, throw them under the bus and get them eaten.
Yeah.
It's just backstabbing and upon backstabbing, and he stays on his Council of 13 or whatever it is because he is, like, the best at doing that, even though you've got, like, Eshin Triad assassins, and also he's addicted to Warpstone.
Yeah, but who isn't? No, seriously, in Skaven society, who isn't?
Yeah. The ones that can't afford it. But yeah, he's fantastic. I love him, and so
hang on. Let's rewind ever so slightly. What did you think back in the day when there were serious talks about making Skaven one of the new Chaos factions?
I love that Archaon didn't even tell the gods to. He didn't even tell the Great Horn Rat to fuck off. He literally just spat in his face and ignored it.
Oh, I didn't even mean in canon. I meant like literally behind the scenes. It's like, yeah, Chaos. Skaven are going to become the new Chaos faction instead of fucking bringing back Beastmen.
Like, I felt that it was a disservice to both Beastmen and Skaven, but I kind of liked it in a way because it made Skaven kind of as threatening as they should be for something that has warrens under the entire old world.
Yeah, I kind of get what you're saying. This was kind of one of the decisions that was happening when they were making the jump to Sigmar, though.
Yeah, so during the end times, and they wanted to move away from being horny, so they basically basically nixed Slaanesh, and Slaanesh just didn't show up for like 6 years.
Yeah, but it makes so little sense in retrospect, doesn't it? Because like they didn't do anything about Slaanesh in 40k.
No, Slaanesh stayed around in 40k. I mean, that's also when we got the half-tit things, where the hermaphrodite demonettes instead, that they were really moving away from the horny. But yeah, they also did that to like really distinguish 40k from fantasy, as in Sigmar, with the Great Horned Rat being the fourth god, and then Slaanesh came back. Like, I don't mind there being 5 gods, but like, should it be the Great Horned Rat? Maybe.
Well,
but also,
I love this idea
token,
though of having gods in a universe that aren't chaos or order.
Yeah, because I also do love the gods of order, but there's like there's the human gods as well.
Yeah, but humans might as well not fucking exist in Sigmar.
Yeah, it's just Sigmarines.
Like, for real, man. Sigmarines broke the ranged game.
Yeah, and Bretonnians have been like completely absorbed, so they basically don't exist anymore.
I can understand why though, because people didn't like buying like a bunch of Bretonnians, because to have a proper cool looking Bretonnian army, you had to paint so many fancy colours.
Yeah, like quintillion horses and a bunch of knights that all looked individually different, because if they didn't, then they weren't really knights, they were just like squires on horses.
Well, less so that, but I get what you mean.
Yeah, so the one that like the questing knights' whole shtick was that each individual one was a noble in their own right. You could become a knight as a commoner in Bretonnia, but only if you'd been born a knight could you pass down your nobility to your children.
Okay.
Yeah, Bretonnians were fucked.
I remember there was a fun mini-game that was released with a White Dwarf, where it was a group of 5 questing Bretonnian knights, and they gave you some war gear, additional war gear options just for this scenario, because one, they had to do it on foot instead of on being mounted, and 2, to make each character feel like an actual character. So you'd have a group of 5 knights, and the opponent played as... Do you want to take a guess?
So what would Bretonnians be against? Probably the Wood Elves, because they were trying to get to the lady in the lake.
No, Lizardmen.
Alright.
I forget what they're called. They've got a new name.
Oh yeah, they're Slytherins or whatever.
Slytherins, yeah, alright, let's give that bitch more fucking recognition.
Lizardmen, whatever they're called. They're now like lightning demons, aren't they?
No, they're not. But anyway, basically Aztec lizard people, it was a series of like 5 missions of these knights trying to break into a temple, get the gold, and escape.
That's kind of cute.
Yeah, it was one of those really fun ones where it had a flowchart based on who won what mission you do next.
Yeah, sweet. Okay.
Yeah, and the final mission was torn between run away or escape with the treasure, and they were both more or less the same scenario. It's just one of them gave the lizard men a lot more points.
Yeah, if they caught the treasure, then yeah, they get more points. Yeah.
No, other way around.
Oh, okay.
Because it was like
yes, it's absolute victory. Otherwise, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to get sidetracked, but you brought up Bretonnians.
No, we're fine and good. So, can you think of one of mine that's your favourite?
Oh, we're not doing this.
Are we not doing that? Okay.
There's no point in doing this, because I've told you, I always forget what your list is.
Red Terror, Mephiston, Hesperax, Fate Weather, and Thankwall.
No.
Okay.
You have an awful list, and you should feel bad. No, for real though, I don't like doing this, because it makes the lists feel weird.
Yeah, sure, fair enough, yeah. So, skip it. So, if you liked the video, you've got the comment section down below on YouTube and Spotify, and you can tell us what you think of characters in Warhammer and Warhammer 40k and Age of Sigmar, because that's technically separate to Warhammer Fantasy. Tell us your favourites. Tell us why we're wrong. Tell us why we're wrong about what we said about things, because I'm not perfect.
Rick, you're doing a rambly-bambly outro. Come on.
Yeah, but if you're not on, if you don't have a comment section, you can instead send an email that says the same thing to nonsensereviewuk@gmail.com.
That's right, all of what Rick said, and remember, if you say something funny or entertaining or just straight up informative, we'll read out your email and or comment on one of our future episodes.
Yeah. And, suggestions for the future as well. That's going to be a goodbye from me.
Bye, guys.